When a label says, like, let's go to the granola. When granola says a serving, whatever that is, maybe it's a quarter cup, has 10 grams of protein, it's not ideal. So ideal protein and complete protein in the scientific community is based off of the numbers that come from animal sources. So your yogurt and your eggs and your salmon are ideal. They are complete. They have all the amino acids in proper ratios. Granola won't. That's why labels can be both helpful and deceiving. And that is I don't know how long it's going to take to correct that. We live in it's ubiquitous. Labels are deceiving.
That's the voice of Laurie Martin. Today on Living Big Mindfully, we are putting a twist on things. By popular demand, Laurie is back for a protein part 2. If you didn't catch protein part 1, our last conversation, I invite you to go back and listen to episode 21. This protein education and information is so important, especially as we age. And what's the best way to learn? I believe from real people having real conversations about real experiences. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We start off with a recap about Laurie's story and her background, and then we jump right into basically a personal coaching session as I share my experiences about transitioning from being protein-puny to at least protein-proficient. And trust me, I have a long way to go. Listen in as Laurie and I talk through my real-life experiences with what's going well and what I'm struggling with, and some of the changes I've actually made. You'll learn about the main sources of protein powders, and the importance of amino acids. Then Laurie coaches me through some of my mistakes and answers many of my burning questions, all of which give listeners a ton of helpful tips and strategies. Of course, Laurie wraps things up with some protein-packed sage advice. If you have questions, please reach out to me or Laurie. She's amazing and has lots of free guides on her website. The links will be in the show notes. And talking about real people and having real conversations and real experiences, remember, tickets for our Women's Wellness Expo for April 20th are on sale now. Come and join us for this full day celebration dedicated to women and women's health and fitness. We're going to be featuring small, intimate group sessions. I'll be leading one of them to real-time, hands-on opportunities to practice and explore everything from yoga to Tai Chi to acupuncture and the latest in women's health and wellness. There'll be exhibits, live Q&A, giveaways, and just so much more. I believe that you're going to leave this expo with a personal roadmap, inspired, refreshed, and empowered with all the tools you need to really begin to create your best life. So grab your tickets today, womenswellnessexpo.com or katechampionauthor.com expo. And as always, I thank you, I support you, I'm here to help you, and I want to see you in Houston. Okay, here's Laurie. Hello, I get to welcome back to the show, Laurie Martins. Hello, it's so good to see you. How are you today?
Hello, thank you for having me back again. I'm doing well, just trying to stay warm out here in the sub-freezing temperatures, but it's sunny and my power's on, so it's a good day. And I'm glad to be here. I love doing these conversations.
Good. So I invited Laurie back for a protein part 2. And if you haven't checked out our first episode, go back to episode 21. That'll give you kind of a nice grounding. So we're going to connect today, and we're kind of Laurie said it perfectly in our chat before we got on. We're going to do something a little bit different today, and it's going to be a real person like me, a real messy, non-expert person, kind of sharing a little bit about my journey through this whole protein thing, right? Because since Laurie and I talked, I've really learned a lot, and I've been trying to get a little better about this whole protein intake. I'm trying to get the importance, but I'm not an expert. I'm not, I'm protein puny, and I'm learning a lot. And I've documented my journey since Laurie and I met. And I think it's really important, especially for women in my age group. I'm 60 and,
I think it's just super important topic. So a real conversation with real people with real messy facts today. So hopefully, Laura, you're okay with that.
That's perfect. Life is messy. And I think the conversations need to get more real. There's a lot of glossy, pretty, highly produced conversations on social media which is where a lot of people get their information, and not so many real conversations like we're going to have today. So this is great. I've never asked one of my clients to record a session, but this is going to be very real. You are bringing your real life questions about how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like a coaching session. So bring it on. I'm here.
Yes. So not only my questions, but also my thoughts and feelings too, because remember, I'm a therapist, right? So I'm all about the thoughts and the feelings and the experience. So I'm going to have questions, but I also want to really share some of my literal physical experiences as well, as I've tried to make this transition. Yeah. So people, get ready, get your pens and papers out, because there's probably going to be a ton of information and things you might want to jot down. Make sure you check out that episode 21, go back for the backstory. And today I'm just going to start with a little bit about my beginning protein journey. So when you and I first met, I had this number in mind about this kind of protein, these grams of protein I should be trying to get a day. And I've really gone from like protein-puny. I don't even know if I was getting 40 grams of protein a day before you and I talked. I've never tracked protein. I've been kind of vegan, vegetarian. So the protein has been low. So I decided and I'm about, weight-wise, I'm about 143 pounds or so. So according to the calculations, I should be trying to consume like over 100 grams of protein a day. So I downloaded a free protein tracker, which was really awesome to help me to keep track of the numbers. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to try and start with 100 grams of protein a day. Frankly, I just couldn't do it. I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Right. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try and lower that a little bit. And then I'm going to go to 80. So I started with 80 grams of protein a day. It still is a pretty massive leap from what I was doing. So the first day I did it, I added in things like hard cheese, happy eggs, protein shakes, protein bars, almonds. I'm trying to think what else. Yogurt, like I found a high protein yogurt, some stuff like that. And I kind of managed to get to 75, 80 grams of protein a day in the beginning. So what I found was this. The first couple of days, I was super thirsty. I don't know if that is something, but I was really, really thirsty, like really thirsty. And this is going to sound gross, but I had really like diarrhea. Like it was just so much for my body, right? So much of a change, so much for my body. So I had some like kind of diarrhea stuff, right? So I was super thirsty, kind of diarrhea. And so I tend to intermittent fast as well. So I was trying to get that protein in a really short window, which probably wasn't a good idea. All right. So one of my questions to you is, how do you begin? Should you really begin with a big deep dive, or should it be more kind of a gradual onboarding? Or what are your thoughts about how somebody might begin?
My first thought is, after listening to how you did what you did and how you did it, what I heard you saying was that the dominant sources for protein were coming from dairy. And you also are more of a vegan, vegetarian, plant-based eater by habit, by lifestyle. So a couple things I think could have happened. And I don't know, when you said protein shakes and protein bars, some of the chemicals in those can be super tough on the gut. What I heard was that you gave your system things it's not used to. And you did a lot of it. And you did it in a short window of time. So I'm not shocked that your stomach did a little bit of a revolt. And so there's that. Now, to answer your direct question, what's the best way to approach this? And, should you dive in or should you go a little bit at a time? It depends. If I think it depends. Let me just say it more clearly. It depends on the person and depends on the choices you are intending to make. So let me just say you did it like almost everyone. You're not alone. We just do the best we can. And this is how it goes. If you don't have, and not to say everybody needs a coach, but everybody needs a coach, especially when you're introducing new foods. So many of us, probably most of us, don't know necessarily with detail what we're doing when we're experimenting. So if you and I had this conversation in detail with this information now, I would have said to you, okay, so you may be very lactose dairy sensitive. So be careful the kinds of protein you choose so you don't set yourself up for intestinal distress. By the same token, you don't want to, if you're with somebody, because you sound very height weight proportional, like you're probably at your ideal body weight. Now, whether it's your ideal body composition, that's another question, but I'm hearing
I don't have weight,
a lot of lactose. Yeah.
I don't have weight to lose. I don't really have weight to gain. I am pretty, BMI's on all the rest. I'm pretty kind of where I should be. Yeah. So you think too much lactose in too short of a space of time was the gut revolt. I love that because it was totally a gut revolt.
Yeah, your stomach said no, thank you a little bit. I want to be clear too, because for some people it's not the lactose. Protein bars and protein shakes, in order to be palatable and tasty, they often have something called sugar alcohols, erythritol, or sort of man-made sugars, the sucraloses. The chemistry of those shakes or bars can be so rough on this. I have had clients just who had to cancel their day because their stomachs went into complete revolt after just eating half a protein bar because of the one chemical erythritol, which is it's a sugar alcohol. It makes things sweet. But for so many people, it's a gastro nightmare.
Wow.
So ingredients are everything. And, you don't know until you know. I had the same, it was trial and error for me as well. I know if I see that on the label, that's a huge no thank you for me. And it is for a lot of human beings. It just doesn't agree with us. But it's a cheap sweetener. It's not straight sugar. It doesn't have the same calories or glycemic effect, but it makes a protein bar or a protein shake or a lot of other products taste better until you have that aversion to it because of what it does to your stomach.
Yeah. So after about day 3 of this, right, I'm trying to get, first of all, I was trying to get the 100 grams in. I seriously just could not get that much food in my day. I mean, just literally couldn't get that much food in. So then I went back down to the 80, and then I did that ish for 2, 3, maybe 4 days. And my body seemed to settle in a little bit. But I would say on the plus side, after about day 4, I felt, I don't know if this is the right word, kind of fluffier, kind of a bit stronger, right? I didn't really change my workouts. The workouts were the same. I do aerobics, running, rower, and I do weights, kind of like some kind of strength training, nothing major in that time frame. But I did notice a little more energy and just a feeling a little bit stronger. So I don't want to focus on all the negative, but that was definitely the plus side. And I'm thinking, okay, my body kind of likes this. This something is working. Yeah. So any thoughts about that today?
I do. Protein is the building block for every single tissue of your body, including your organs, your heart, your stomach lining, your intestinal lining. Every organ is a tissue. It's a tissue. Tissues are made of cells. Cells need protein to replicate, to regenerate. And there isn't a process in our body that doesn't require building blocks. Those building blocks, in order to do their regeneration and building, we have to have protein, and that protein it needs to be a constant stream. If we're not getting enough protein, our body is feeding on the existing skeletal muscle tissue. Predominantly, it's going to pull amino acids because amino acids are building blocks. If you're not feeding amino acids, your body's going to pull from within. And that is not, you're not coming from a position of strengthening. That's a position of breaking down. So when you're giving yourself, and it's an adjustment, but you're now giving your body enough outside nutrition, outside building blocks that your body can finally stop tearing down on its little microscopic level and just grab what you're giving it and put back. So now you're coming from a place of new building blocks, and you will get better energy. You will have better energy because you're feeding your body the building blocks it needs.
Yeah, and I was definitely recognizing that beginning to kind of stir a little bit, kind of physically. I was definitely feeling, better. Not that I was feeling bad, but just feeling a little, like I said, a little fluffier, a little stronger, a little more energy, which was great.
That doesn't surprise me. It is almost everybody. I'm not going to say everybody, but almost everybody I've worked with that adds more protein into their life goes through some level of adjustment. Finding the right protein, getting used to doing it, finding what works. Their body does a little bit of, oh my goodness, something new. This is different. There's an adjustment. And usually within that first week, the report back is, I feel like something just clicked. It was an adjustment, but now I feel like I've had people say they're warmer. Their body temperature feels more stable. They feel like they have a little more get up and go. They just feel more capable. I've heard it described, so you described it differently, but I've heard it described different ways. Just a little bit fluffier, like there's something more, like you have something more. You have something to work with.
Yeah, like a little bit of a boost, right? There was a little fluffier when I said that, a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a nudge up, right? In some level. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've definitely given yourself a nudge up.
Yeah, I mean, I have. And I was laughing one day. So again, I do some intermittent fasting. So then I've now been eating these like 3 egg omelets, right, for breakfast. Like, so eggs are huge, again, a go-to source of protein for me. And my husband was laughing because, I'd go to a restaurant, order this 3 egg omelet and blah, 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 mushrooms in it or something like that. And he's like, I have never seen you eat a massive omelet like that. So that was a little overwhelming for me, is the amount, right? The amount of food, because I'm more of a grazer than a sit down and eat the big meal kind of person. So that actually felt a little overwhelming and daunting. So, oh my gosh, how am I going to eat this huge omelet? In order to get that 80 whatever grams of protein in a day. So any thoughts around just that sense of feeling overwhelmed, thinking this is a lot, I'm never going to be able to eat all this food? Help me with that.
Well, for somebody like you who prefers not to eat animal products any more than happy eggs, which I love that term, by the way, it takes, like, I know some vegans who are really great, and we talked about this in the last episode. I know some vegans who really know how to get their protein in, but they definitely, they have to eat volumes of food. Volumes. And I am not a volume food eater anymore. I was when I was younger, but it just doesn't feel good to me anymore. It just physically
Mhm.
does not feel good. It's also
Right.
expensive. So for somebody like you, I might encourage, or I would suggest, a suggestion I would make is to find a protein supplement. And just like I would say, if you're not getting your vitamin C through food, I would suggest a supplement. If you're not get anything that we know our body needs and we're not able to just get enough through food, it's a natural recommendation to look for a supplement. And I think protein fits into this beautifully because it really does require us to eat a lot of food if we want to get enough protein. And so one of my suggestions would be to find a good protein powder or drink supplement that sits well in your stomach, that agrees with you, and that you can consume in a more, because you can add, if you find a protein powder, there have been days where I'll put 2.5 times the recommended container serving. So if a serving is 20 grams of protein and I want to be efficient, I'll put 3 servings in my 10 ounces of
Wow.
water and I'll blend it or shake it however I feel like doing it. And now I've got 60 grams of protein in one 10-ounce drink.
Wow.
That's how I get
Wow.
it done. That's how I get it done when I'm in a
Wow.
hurry. When I don't,
Wow.
I'm not going to eat roast beef for breakfast today. I mean, I need to get it in. I need to get my protein in and move on.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna maybe have some questions about that protein shake thing. Can your body, I mean, will your body absorb that much protein in one shot? Right? I mean, so you use the analogy of the supplement, like vitamin C or something like that, right? I know our body, we could take, you know, 10 times a dose, but your body's only going to absorb so much. So is that the same with protein, right? If you're taking this 60 grams in this drink, maybe in the morning, is your body going to absorb all that? How does that work?
It will probably vary day by day. Just like with vitamin C, there are days when if I'm feeling like I might be catching something, I will take I won't mention doses because I do what I do and other people have to do what they
Got
do and
it.
they trust their physician. But I will take a significant amount of vitamin C every hour on the hour until I get a
Mm,
tummy rumble. And I have taken up to 10 grams of protein, grams, not milligrams, grams,
mhm.
vitamin C in a single day without any tummy trouble. Other days, and my body needed it, so it took it in and needed it, used it. Other days, if I try to do that, I will get tummy rumbles after dose number 2 with the
Interesting.
very same product. So
Mm,
what that says to me, and again, this isn't based on any other person's, this is personal, this is my personal experience.
yeah.
Our body has different needs, has some very similar needs on a day-to-day basis, but also those fluctuate. So I think there will be days when your body is, depending on what you did the day before,
Mm,
and potentially what you put your body through any single day, your body will have different needs.
mhm.
You could eat happy eggs in the morning today. Your body, what is to say your body absorbs all that? How do we know? And why is protein the one nutrient we question? We never question how many carbs our body actually needed today. We never look at it. We never think about it. We just eat them. Woohoo! But with
Mhm.
protein, there is this, and it's not, you are one of hundreds of millions of people. I get this question from everyone. How much is my protein is my body really going to absorb? Well, it'll
Okay.
absorb what it needs. And
Okay.
your body and what you need in the morning might be different than what you need midday, might be different than what you need at the end of the day. And Tuesday might be different than Sunday.
Wow.
Monday is going
Okay.
to be different than Saturday. I mean, if there is a fluctuation,
Mm-hmm.
and there is great dependency on what you are doing in your day-to-day existence. If you've had a surgery, if you're feeling under the weather, your body is going to be begging for some protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that with the caveat that sometimes when we're under the weather, our body doesn't want a lot of food
Mm-hmm.
because it's busy doing other things, but we have to feed it. It's complex.
Right.
So there is no hard, fast answer about how much protein is my body actually going to absorb if I eat it.
Got it.
If you're looking to build skeletal muscle and say you're going to go do, in order to build healthy skeletal muscle, you have to do basically two things. You have to consume enough full spectrum, high quality protein with all the amino acids and get yourself a specific one. You need your leucine. That's an essential amino acid. Your body cannot make it. You need to put enough of that into your body, and you have to lift heavy weight, and you have to really exert the muscles you're trying to build to the point of, oh my goodness, this is heavy. And if you're going to lift like that, you're going to need to feed your body the building blocks to go back in then and repair and build those muscles that you just worked to their failure point. Otherwise, you're just breaking muscle down and there's nothing to build it back up.
Got it. Got it. So, I mean, there's 2 or 3 things I wanted to ask in that came up also in my notes as well. So one of them, I know it's going to feel like I'm going off track a bit, but I want to ask it before I forget. So as I was going through and trying to learn about the products and look at the protein and trying to figure out, do they have essential amino acids and yada, 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 like reading labels, which I've never read labels. So trying to figure out this whole thing. Then my question was, okay, so what's the difference between this protein? I mean, I'm trying to get 80 grams of protein, in a high kind of protein diet with a focus on protein. What's the difference between that and keto? Because isn't keto all about protein as well?
Keto is about fat and protein.
Okay.
So keto is sort of eating to exclusion. It's excluding a lot of things.
Okay.
Carbohydrates predominantly. And there are degrees of keto. So in a true strict ketogenic eating plan, you're not eating any more than 20 grams of carbs per day of any kind. When we're including vegetables, we're including good carbs like green vegetables. So you might only get a certain amount of green beans. You barely get any potato because potatoes are higher in carbohydrate. So a ketogenic diet is about consuming the 90% of your calories, 90 to 95% of your calories through protein and fat.
Wow. Okay. So my head's saying, oh my gosh, that sounds, no judgment, that sounds hard, right? And if I was struggling with what I'm trying to do here, I just, because I was also in the beginning, that first week or so, I was really beginning to miss kind of my fruits and vegetables and, the typical kind of way I would eat. But with with thinking about the keto, right, thinking about protein and fat, it's like all that other stuff seems like it's just out the window.
It can definitely feel like that. And particularly, I know that the ketogenic diet, a strict ketogenic diet, came from medical work with people with seizure disorder. That's my understanding, because when you lower carbohydrate consumption drastically. There are some very beneficial brain health advantages.
Okay.
There's some really cool work being done now. There's some people bringing it right to the forefront, talking about how the benefits for people who have suffered with mental health diseases and situations can very potentially find profound brain benefits by taking their carbohydrate intake down to almost nothing. But it does have to be strict. It has to be every day. We're talking people that do not cheat. This isn't, okay, well, I did it great Monday through Friday, but Saturday and Sunday are my cheat days. No, people that are doing this for the brain benefits are limiting it. They are staying under 20 grams of carbohydrate.
Okay.
They're eating meat.
Yeah. And that's really the key, isn't it? The difference that I'm hearing is that the keto thing is really, also, like you said, really lowering the carbs. And this, you and I, what we're doing here, this is not about the carbs. I'm eating carbs like I would generally eat them. I'm not even thinking about carbs. I'm just trying to increase my protein numbers.
Yes. Yes. For somebody like you who's already at their happy weight, and you're just trying to get what your body needs, and you are doing exactly what, I talk to women about doing all the time. Women that pay me and they're like, well, how do I do this? I say, okay, when you're thinking about a meal, the very first thing to consider is, how am I getting my 30 to 40 grams of protein at this meal? And you have to figure that out before you think about any other food. So once you've settled on where that protein is coming from, how much room do you have left for any other food?
Yeah.
In your hunger. So
yeah. And I love that, because that's exactly what my thinking has become, right? When I look at when I think about a meal, I really do think now, I didn't before we talked, but now I do think about the protein source first. And then I think about, okay, what vegetables do I want to add to that? And then I also generally eat the protein first, right? So that has really become my kind of primary focus on the planning and on the plate, right? That's really in my mind every day. It's like, how am I going to get these stupid 80 grams of protein? It still drives me crazy. But, and I'm going to be honest, some days I do pretty well. Some days I suck at it, right? Sometimes just totally off and didn't prepare the food and don't have what I need. And just, I go back to that, what I call that protein-puny profile of that 40 grams a day. So I'm not solid. I don't have it dialed in. I'm not rocking this amazingly. I mean, I have good days and I have not so great days, but I am mindful, right? There is a mindset shift, and I am mindful about the plate and the protein and trying to get it in most days. Yeah. Yes.
You're doing it right. Let me just say that straight up. You're doing it right. So let me just start from there. You're doing it right because you've accepted that there should maybe be an awareness.
Yeah.
And you've done it. That's step one. And believe it or not, my clients tend to come to me because they're serious already.
Mm-hmm.
So my clients, I've never had one that didn't get that. But people that I just talk to in my day-to-day exchange that, they know what I do, they know what I talk about, and I don't want to worry about that. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't, I've made it this far. I don't care. And that's fine. But your awareness, just after all you had to do was learn it. You have that attention to your health, to your body, that your mind said, oh, I might better pay attention to that. So that basically puts you in 1%. 1%. You are now in the 1%.
I don't know about that, but there is, you said that so beautifully. And there is, if if I could dialogue my internal thinking or my internal awareness, it's exactly that, right? There's a part of me, wisdom, right? There's an internal wisdom that knows that this protein thing is important, right? I know it in my guts, right? I know it intrinsically. This protein discussion and information is really important, especially for women. I don't want to exclude the men, but especially for the women, again, in this demographic, 40, 50, 60, 70, it's really, really important. And I truly, my heart and mind, know that and believe that. And I think that's where the energy comes for me to take this seriously, right? To really me to like, okay, I'm really going to look at this. I'm really going to take this seriously. Yeah.
It's mindset.
And I didn't have that. Again, I didn't have that before our first conversation, again, episode 21. So thank you, right? And thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for helping me increase my awareness. And listeners out there, you can do this, right? It's not rocket science. You can do this.
And thank you I always thank people for hearing my message, because it's hard to break through the food propaganda that here in the United States in particular, we are fed from the minute we're born. No pun intended. We, in our public school system, in our television, in our marketing, social media is just starting to put out this message that, our food pyramid is based on marketing and sales and profits.
Mm-hmm.
It's not based on what human bodies need. We are literally programmed to believe that food is an entertainment. We eat food for sport. We eat food for entertainment. We eat food some people have activities like golfing or swimming or walking and hiking, but Americans include eating as one of, it is an activity because anything we do is an activity, but socializing is just completely been engulfed by food. And that's okay, because there is some psychological huge benefit, by the way, to eating food together with other humans. The dinner table, whatever meal it is, communing, breaking bread, eating food together is a bonding, healing thing. And I never discount that. I promote that. In the same room, people should be at a table together, eating food, having conversation, letting that energy fill that room.
Yeah, beautiful.
Food is beautiful, but food is literally the building blocks of who we are. I can have a conversation and look at somebody and know within 5 minutes if they are healthy.
Wow.
I could, if they disregard food, if they're, I only cook at home twice a year. I don't bring my lunch to work. I order, it's restaurant food, takeout food, packaged food on the go, fast food. And that it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's an expensive, but easy.
Yeah.
But honestly, the packaged food and the fast food and the lower quality food is cheaper than high quality food. So it's very, very difficult to break lifetimes of ideas and habits because they are ingrained in us. We are deep in our patterns, and change is hard.
Yeah. And I do want to say change is hard, but change is possible. And remember, the brain, when I think about the brain, I think about the brain and the nervous system, right? The spine, and all the nerves that go out from the central nervous system out to our fingers and toes, right? That to me is the body brain, right? That that organ is plastic, right? So change is hard, and we can change at any age. We can really begin to change those neuro pathways. And honestly, that's what's happened in my brain, right, with regard to this protein thing. Over this last, I think that conversation was November or something, right? Now we're in January, right? So over this last 2 months, yeah, it hasn't been perfect, trust me, but there has been, like you said, a mindset set shift, and awareness has been built. And it is in my thinking now, naturally. Now I don't have to try. Yeah.
That's a huge home run.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I think that also, our age group.
Mm-hmm.
And if your listeners don't know, not right now, 100% of my clients are over 55. 100%. I haven't always, some of my last year's clients were not quite at 50, but they saw the writing on the wall. They wanted to make changes. But this demographic, I think I was calling something on social media this morning about women's biology, and the whole post was informative. It wasn't out of line. But the framework of women's biology is always about women in childbearing age. Women, so it's, women under 50, really. Not to say that women over 50 can't bear children. I know those biology, those anomalies exist, but we women over 50 have been sort of left on our own. And so much so that I find it over, well, can I make this change now? Isn't it too late? Well, I'm too set in my ways. Oh no, what does it matter now? Oh, well. And can we undo the first 50 years? I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But if we can't undo 100% of it, we can certainly move the needle so far with such impact that the next 50 years can be exponentially. I don't know what word. I need a word bigger than exponentially.
Yeah.
We have incredible, if not infinite, power through our choices to take the levers that we pulled the wrong way before and reverse it.
Absolutely.
Stop. If nothing else, we can, if we pulled the wrong lever in our teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s, well, let's just put that lever back and pull a better lever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, we can.
100%. Right. Yeah. And, I'm also an author, and I wrote a book called Never Too Late. Right. Yes. It is never too late to make some of these changes, like physically, mentally, food wise, spiritually, whatever. Right. We are constantly learning, constantly growing. I believe until the day we drop dead. Right. We have that capacity to learn and grow and change. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I've seen it in my now 90-year-old father who lives in memory care. He has some pretty extensive dementia and damage. But because certain factors had to be changed, I had to help him make changes and set his new parameters and give him a different way of living. And, I planted my feet firmly in his life and said, oh, these things were very unhealthy. We will put those aside going forward. And then so we put some things aside, some toxins, some choices, some people. And so those went away. And then so those were excluded. And now we're including some supplements, extra love, extra care in movement, in scheduling healthy habits. Can we fix everything? But oh no, for him, no. His situation is his.
Sure.
But his decline, which was so rapid for 1 year, we put the brakes on that decline. It's shocking even to me. I'm like, I can't believe.
Wow.
I can't believe how it even impacts his caregivers, the rest of the family. Like, how is he doing so well?
Oh, beautiful.
How is someone with that much damage still thriving in all these other ways?
Yeah.
Choices will always matter, right? As you said, till the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Yeah.
great power if we choose to use it.
Absolutely.
It matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does matter. Yeah. So as I'm looking through my notes, I'm looking like over that week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, I'm looking through my notes. So the diarrhea kind of went away. My thirst balance, and I think the thirst was probably connected to the diarrhea, right? Because if you're losing on that end, you're kind of drinking in more water, needing more water. So I think that was what that was about. So that all kind of balanced out. And then I did find my runs, right? Because I love to run trail. So my runs were a little stronger. My workouts were a little stronger. So now this is about 2 weeks, 10 days, 14 days in. So now I'm really, less diarrhea. And it seems to be, this protein thing seems to be translating into my physical activity, which honestly felt like such a win. I mean, that was such a win. Yeah. Yeah. And as I'm feeling kind of stronger in those areas, that is helping me like kind of rinse and repeat. So it's helping motivate me even more to kind of keep this, this kind of protein thing going, because I think it's so important. So that was lovely. And that was, again, about 2.5 weeks in, I really began to notice some of that.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm glad you are in tune with your body enough to feel it, because once you feel stronger and better and you notice it, it helps keep the cycle of the good choices coming along.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised you're asking when you're running and hiking and doing all the outdoor things that you do, your body needs, again, your muscles are involved.
Yeah.
Muscle tissue requires
so I want to read you.
Yeah.
I want to read you. I'm actually going to read you what I wrote Friday, November the 10th. It said, stomach all good. Honestly, I felt amazing today, mentally and physically, all day. Strong, vibrant, full of energy, hopeful. I realized, realized that I've realized that I'm a creator. I love creating, but that's a whole different thing. So that's how I was feeling, like November the 10th. So that was about 2 weeks in. I felt amazing, mentally and physically, strong, vibrant, and full of energy. Yeah. And I really do think that is that protein component.
Well, if you think about it this way too, so neurotransmitters, all the happy ones, you need amino acids to feed your neurotransmitters. And think about where, like serotonin, let's just use serotonin because most people have an understanding that that's a happy hormone. 80% of it is developed in our gut.
Yes.
So if we are consuming protein, which is a protein, again, I'll say it again, I need to say it every time I speak. Protein is a name that science gave to a specific group of amino acids. Each of those amino acids has a job. It does different things in the body. And some of these amino acids get together and they have synergistic effects together in certain amounts and ratios. And one of the jobs of amino acids is to help your body, well, first is to keep your stomach lining intact. There's nothing more symptomatic or problematic than an unhappy stomach lining. In order to have a happy, healthy stomach lining, we need a certain number and flow of healthy amino acids, because the lining of our stomach, if it's unhealthy, we're not going to produce healthy serotonin. If we're not
Right.
consuming amino acids, we're just not doing, our body isn't, so that need for amino acids is built as building blocks trickles all the way down to helping to create hormones and
Mm.
and just the neurotransmitters we need for a healthy, happy mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our brain, we a lot of times think our brain is just a separate thing, but our physiology does include our brain health and our brain function. So that note that you made to yourself, what you wrote down, is, to me, is a sign that you just gave your body the things it needed. The neurotransmitters were happy. Your stomach is happy. You are feeding your mind in such a way that even your neurotransmitters are all coming together for you.
Yeah.
We underestimate what a lack or a deficiency does to our happiness, to our creativity, to our ability to just be well in our mood. So I'm so glad you made that note to yourself about how just genuinely good from an emotional standpoint.
Yes, right.
It's huge.
Yeah, it was huge. So thank you. So I'd like to give listeners, people that are interested, a few like really specific things that I did with regards to trying to get these grams. And again, I'm still hovering around 75, 80. I haven't been able to get above that, but if that's where I land, I guess at this point, I'm okay with that. So I'd like to give people some things that I exactly did, and maybe then you can add a couple of tips and strategies as well. Would that be okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So one of the things that comes to my mind, I definitely went to eggs. So I added eggs in the morning. So peanut butter on a kind of a healthy gluten-free English muffin. And I added either boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, just eggs, like whipped up in a pan, or a couple of boiled eggs. So that's how I started my day, or continue to start my day with kind of a protein jump start. And then I completely ditched the protein bars. I just couldn't stand them anymore. And I do think they were kind of upsetting my stomach. But I did find a protein powder with, I searched with the full range of those essential amino acids. So I do use a protein shake. So I'll throw that in the blender, just one scoop. I haven't got to the 2 or 3 scoops, but I think that's a great idea. I'll throw a banana in. I'll throw some ice cubes in. I'll throw, some spinach or whatever in, some greens. So I'll blend up a shake. And that's, that has been definitely a go-to. I'll take that to the office with me. So that's very portable. I've added in a lot of nuts, and I found a granola that is, about 10 grams of protein for about a quarter of a cup, which was lovely for me because I can have a nice, 20-gram protein yogurt, and I can add my 10 grams of the granola in, and that's 30 grams in a pretty small, easy, eatable kind of snack. And I've added salmon in. I've added salmon, because I was just really having a hard time getting enough in. So I've added salmon, and that's a long story. I started that when I did the Camino in Portugal because I just felt like I needed more protein. But I was eating salmon now and again, but now I eat salmon, probably 3 or 4 times a week. So that has become my part of my protein staple that I've been willing to do. I've been willing to add that in. So that has been really helpful as well. So those are some things that I've done, pretty easy things, nothing crazy. So those are some tips for listeners if they're, thinking about this. Also almonds, right? That handful of almonds is lovely. So just, some really easy things, kind of on the go things. Is there anything you might add to that? Like from your perspective?
I have to, because my colleagues and my peers will scold me. And so I have to add a caution.
Okay.
I have to add a caution.
Okay.
Protein is not protein. You eat a fairly diverse diet. So you can probably get away with throwing in a handful of almonds and putting a little granola in your yogurt. When a label says, like, let's go to the granola. When granola says a serving, whatever that is, maybe it's a quarter cup, has 10 grams of protein, it's
Uh-huh.
not complete. It's not complete protein.
Okay.
Or let me put it
Yeah.
this way. It's not ideal. So ideal protein and complete protein in the scientific community is based off of the numbers that come from animal sources. So your yogurt and your eggs and your salmon are ideal. They are complete. They have all the amino acids in proper ratios. Granola won't, bread won't, peanut butter won't. Grains, and this is common. This is, and these are. I point this out not to make you feel like, oh, dang it, I didn't do it right.
No, I don't feel like that.
Yes,
I'm learning. I'm open. Yeah.
so that's why labels can be both helpful and deceiving. And that is I don't know how long it's going to take to correct that. We live in it's ubiquitous. Labels are deceiving. Any vegetable, any bread, any grain, any cereal that tells you how many grams of protein are in it, and that's it, but doesn't break down the amino acid profile, they're not telling you the whole picture. And I think part of it is it's hard. That would be hard to put on a label. Two,
Yeah.
the science has only caught up to this in the last, 10 years in a big way. I think what we're going to see in probably 10 years from now is a huge demand. People are going to become educated. People like you and I talking, it's going to get the words continuing to get out. It's almost mainstream now that protein is not protein is not protein. So when science looks at the effects of protein and what we need and how much we should get, they're really basing that off of animal protein, which looks different than the protein in a grain.
Right.
Because of the amino acids. And again, I'll say it, protein is not one thing, it's a group of 20 things.
Got it. Okay.
So
give
that's why I love a
couple
protein shake. That's, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's again back to those protein shakes, as long as it's got that whole essential amino acid profile in it.
Yes. And in order to know this, so what I do is I'll be at the store and I'll be just say you're at Target and you're at the section where they sell you protein. Find a whey protein and then go find a plant-based protein powder. I'm talking powders. And find each with an amino acid profile. And look at the numbers on each individual amino acid on the whey protein and see if they equate to the breakdown of amino acids and the numbers on the plant protein. That's where you see the difference.
Okay.
The numbers are very different.
Okay, that's a good point. And I want listeners to know I'm using a plant-based protein, right? I'm using a combination of pea and whatnot, but it does specifically say on the label that it has all of the essential amino acids, but I haven't done that compare and contrast. So I might do that.
Well, and I want to be honest, I have one of my favorite proteins is a plant-based protein, and they call it a quad plant. So it's a combination of pea, rice, hemp, and I forget the third one. But when you're talking plant proteins, like I used to just use pea protein back when I didn't know. It was cheap, it was clean, it was protein. I didn't know, I didn't care about the amino acid breakdown. And then I started learning about, oh, wait, pea protein is very different. Pea protein has a ton of these amino acids, and then a few of them are kind of scant. But rice protein, which I can also buy as a standalone protein, has a completely different breakdown in their amino acids. When you put them together, Each amino
Okay.
acid is bolstered. Pea might be a little weak in these three things, but rice is really strong in those three amino acids. So when you put them together, you get a much stronger profile. That's why in
Okay.
plant
Okay.
protein, you really do want to see that combination of different
Okay.
plants put together so that the protein in a plant-based shake looks as similar
Mm-hmm.
as it can to the amino acid breakdown of an animal profile.
Got it.
Because for
Got it.
people that do not prefer, and this is a personal choice. I'm not gonna,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I could, there are conversations that could be had around that, but for the purposes of this, if a person is like, I'm not eating animal protein, okay, there, you can work around
Mm-hmm.
that. When it
Right.
comes to amino acids, specifically, you can work around that. There are some nutrients that you cannot get except with meat.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a list of nutrients that the human body benefits from that you can't get as a vegan. Period. You would maybe if you took 25 supplements every single day, and some people do,
Yeah.
but you'd have to. But
Yeah.
that's an education level on a whole other
Right.
level.
Right. Right. Right.
But
Right.
amino acids, which is what our focus is, yes.
Got it. Yes. Got it. So if you would share that protein with me, with the quad protein with the 4, I'll put a link in the show notes to that.
Okay.
For people that might be interested, I'll stick a link in the show notes. So Laurie, is there anything else you want to add as we're wrapping up our coaching session today? Is there anything else I need to know for this next leg of my journey here?
I think the most important thing, and I want to reiterate this, is we are real people, and every day doesn't have to be perfect. My day isn't perfect. There, a couple times a week, I'll be like, well, I sure didn't get my protein in today because I didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it.
Okay.
People might be aghast to hear that, but
I think
there's an 80-20 rule, or there's a 90-10 rule. I'm probably 98% of the time on target because I do live in I have elder care as part of my day-to-day existence. And I have it in my face. I desperately, desperately don't want to be frail because I see it. And for the last 4.5 years, I've have one foot in that world.
Yeah.
And so when you have a foot in that world and hear the stories of all those families, because I've gotten to know those families, frailty for me it's not a fear because I'm proactive, but my words to people are, do the best you can. Tomorrow's a new day. It doesn't have to be perfect. I didn't get to where I am. This is an evolution of 15 years of conscious effort. And I don't want to lie about that. Every day isn't perfect. There are things I could still improve. But just pick something, start, make it something you can do, pat yourself on the back for that. Don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on what you didn't get right. Focus on all the little things you did do today and that you might do again tomorrow. It's really about little incremental wins. And like you were talking, your wins are huge. That just your mindset's different now. Awareness. Awareness is the first step.
Key.
Yeah.
Key. Yeah, absolutely.
So don't be hard on yourselves.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. Make small choices. Find the ones that work. Get comfortable in those. And then when you're comfortable, well, what could I do next? Yeah. Because life is a long time. Like unless you have a severe, serious situation where change must happen right now, or you're in peril, That's different. But if you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to continue to do better, take it in the chunks that work for you and be proud of yourself every day for thinking about it.
Yeah, I love that. I think community is important, right? So, if you don't have a community that's supportive, jump on, connect with me, connect with Laurie, right? We've got lots of communities and resources for you if you have questions. Don't go it alone. I think it takes a team. I think life takes a team. So, yeah, if
Yes.
you've got questions, please reach out. Please reach out. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love questions. Like I get random questions through my Instagram account more than any other, well, Instagram and Facebook. And people are
Yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, please bring it. I,
Yeah. So where
yeah.
where can people find you, Laurie? Where can people find you?
On Instagram, I'm Coach Laurie Martin. And on Facebook, I have a business page. It's Coach Laurie Martin.
All right.
And that's where the information, I do put something out almost every day. I took a little time off during the holidays because my whole new thing for this coming year is a little less screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe screen time is going to be, this might be the best venue to talk. I think screen time is a toxin.
Yeah. No,
People
I
are
hear
studying it
you.
right now, and screen time is not necessarily our friend. So we have to be judicious about our use of it. But I am trying to put something out every single day because little nuggets trickled out. I never know what nugget is going to impact somebody, but my Coach Laurie Martin on Instagram, Coach Laurie Martin, it's a Facebook page is the other place, and CoachLaurieMartin.com. I do have a website, but people don't use it that much. It's social media where people really connect. And I encourage people to message me if they have a question. If nothing else, I can point you in the right place. Yeah.
And I will put all those links in the show notes. And I'm thinking there's probably going to be a part 3. I'd love to actually take a deep dive into the aging and the fragility. I think that's actually a really important conversation. So let's get our schedules, and listeners can look for kind of a part 3 with Laurie, and maybe on that show we can also answer any questions that come into us. So yes, what a great conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for your help and guidance and support. It's been fun. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thank you for, it seems weird, but I am so humbled when somebody asks me a question. I am humbled when somebody says, I need guidance. And you have taken the time to use your platform to put your personal stuff, not just to me, but to everyone. So good on you. You're braver than most. And that, I think we need more of that. I think we need more real people saying, these are my questions. I'm a regular person.
Yeah.
Regular questions need to be more prominent. So thank you.
Absolutely. And that's what I love to do. I love to share stories about real people and real lives. And I'm here to support you and encourage you, and just so you can just live your best life, right? So yeah, It's been fun. Thank you so much. We'll connect soon.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Let's make this the best year ever.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate you and your time. I love to hear from listeners, so connect with me at katechampionauthor.com. Remember to grab your free hiking guide, and please take a quick moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. Thanks so much. Take care. Until next time. Hey, me again. Just a reminder, this podcast should not be considered professional advice. It's also not a substitute for mental, physical, or any other healthcare-related treatment. For any questions about your condition and/or concerns, please contact a fully licensed healthcare professional. Thank you.